Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink 11-8 mission launch from West Coast, that is from the pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Hope you all are doing fine and excited about this record-breaking SpaceX Starlink launch. Hello, my name is Dipta Maitra, performing the commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
Hello there. We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 10th overall launch and the 9th Falcon 9 launch of this year. Previously, we had the Starship launch. Now today's launch marks the third one from Vandenberg for SpaceX, as they are on track building their incredible launch cadence for this year. The Starlink 11-8 mission sets a record by launching more second-generation satellites in a single batch than ever before. According to SpaceX's 2024 progress report, the company introduced optimized Starlink version 2 mini satellites, as we all know. Now, these satellites are not only lighter, 22% less than the original version 2 mini, but also includes new capabilities. This makes it possible to launch more of them. Now we will discuss about them in a while. Now just a second, I think this camera is a little tilted. Well, fine. Now we are right now waiting for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 7:35 a.m. Pacific time, 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time from California for a southeasterly launch for SpaceX Starlink mission. The Starlink mission 11-8 will launch a record-breaking 27 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. Today's Starlink mission marks SpaceX's amazing 437th overall launch. Now, firstly, on behalf of AstroYonder team and moderators, we would like to thank all of you for joining us for today's launch. We express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone for being a part of today's stream. Really appreciate you being here. Also, a big thanks to our amazing YouTube community for being here today, supporting us as we provide detailed coverage of space launches, complete with extensive stats and thorough insights. Now, today's launch will be the 5th dedicated Starlink mission of the year for SpaceX. Prior to today's launch, SpaceX has launched 87 Starlink satellites so far, over 4 flights this year. This count will grow rapidly, no doubt about it. But prior to today's launch, overall 7,719 Starlink satellites have been launched to date, including 427 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites. Just last year alone, a staggering 1,982 Starlink satellites were launched. That's a huge number and an incredible achievement. Oh, well, one thing I completely forgot. Just a note, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if we face any technical issues, please bear with me and be tuned in. I will do my best to guide you through the Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in... Oh, well, I didn't make my timer to fix. Just a second. In 38 minutes from now, approximately. So now let's get back to today's mission. As of now, the weather is looking good for today's Falcon 9 launch opportunity, and the range is ready to support. But we hope that there will be able to launch on time and not have to push too far. But if for some reason we do not have the launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow. That is on Monday, January 20th, with launch window opening at 7:13 a.m. Pacific Time, 10:13 a.m. Eastern Time. Now let's go and have a look at the payload details for today's mission launch. Built in Redmond, Washington, today's payload consists of record-breaking 27 Starlink version 2 mini satellites. Previously, 24 number of Starlink satellites was the highest count to be launched in a single mission. The launch of 27 Starlink satellite at once is possible by reducing the weight of each satellite to 575 kilograms, down from approximately 800 kilograms. This launch marks the 5th dedicated Starlink launch for this year. Each satellite is equipped with 5 advanced Ku-band phased array antennas and 3 dual-band parabolic antennas which utilizes Ka and E-band, and a 52.5 square meter dual solar array with a wingspan of 100 feet, featuring the satellite. Now the 2 solar arrays are also aeroneutral, which enables faster on-orbit maneuvers. Also, each satellite is equipped with a high-capacity battery to provide power to the payloads. Each satellite also features 3 space laser transponders, also known as optical inter-satellite links for intercommunications, which operates at up to 200 Gbps, and they make use of argon-fueled Hall effect thrusters for in-orbit maneuvering. Now today's payload will be placed in an orbit with an altitude of 279 kilometers and with an inclination of 53.16 degrees. Each version 2 mini satellite weighs approximately 1,268 pounds, that is 575 kilograms, which is 22% lesser than the original version 2 mini. Previously, like on previous launches, we used to have Starlink satellite which used to weigh around 800 kilograms, that is 1,763 pounds. Now Starlink satellite use custom built-in star tracker to find their position, altitude and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. Each has 4 reaction wheels for precise altitude control plus a hot spare setup for reliability. Their aluminum flywheel is designed to safely burn up at the end of its useful life. Additionally, worth mentioning, which is a critical thing on a Starlink satellite, that they have an autonomous collision avoidance system which uses Department of Defense debris tracking database to avoid space junk and other spacecraft. And this autonomous collision avoidance system is on board the Starlink satellite. Now let's discuss the main thing for today's payload, that what optimization made it to possible to launch 27 Starlink satellites. Now this optimization includes the new SpaceX designed dual band chip called Doppio. Each satellite features enhanced backhaul antennas. By using the Doppio chips, which utilizes Ka and Ku band, frequencies, yes, Ku and Ka band, the backhaul antennas can handle higher data rates and lower latency. This chip is integrated into the satellite's avionics system, ensuring seamless operation and communication with other satellite components. Other optimization for Starlink payload includes enhanced avionics for better control and communication, improved propulsion system for efficient deployment and maneuvering in orbit, enhanced power systems to support the increased payload capacity as well. This optimization allows Falcon 9 to carry up to 29 satellites per mission, which is 6 more than the original version 2 mini design. Now, some quick fun facts. Although many of you will be remembering and many have forgotten about it. So, the thing is, the first launch of 21 Starlink version 2 mini satellites for a mission named Starlink 6-1 took place from Space Launch Complex 40, Cape Canaveral, in Florida on February 27th, back in 2023. And another one is a Starlink 6-39 mission launched on February 25th, back in 2024, last year, where Falcon 9 launched from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and was the first to include 24 Starlink version 2 mini satellites. So just a reminder and some quick fun facts. Oh, also another quick fun fact is there. I hope you guys will be remembering the first Starlink satellites and what were they named. So if you guys remember that, so kindly let us know on the comment section here in on the chat. You can do so that we can know that whether you are remembering them or not. The first two Starlink satellites and their name. Now let's move on and take a look at the booster supporting today's mission. The booster with tail number 1082 supporting today's mission. A teenage booster, you can say, with 9 previous flights in its record, including missions like OneWeb 4, USSF-62 missions, and additionally this booster supported 7 Starlink missions, now awaiting its 10th flight just minutes away. The last mission supported by today's booster was Starlink 11-2 on December 30th of last year, and the booster's turnaround time as of today is 37 days. Now interestingly, today's mission will be the 10th consecutive launch of this booster from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg, with 7 landings on, of course, I Still Love You, and 2 landings on Landing Zone 4. Now let's move on and let's have a look at the bar graph showing the number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before today's launch, SpaceX completed its 8th launch for this year with Blue Ghost Mission 1 and the Resilience lunar landers launch from Kennedy Space Center on 15th of January. Previously, SpaceX completed 132 Falcon 9 launches last year, making a year with the highest annual launches to date for SpaceX. Would welcome Marcos Antonio. Thanks for tuning in, Marcos, as you are visiting us on each hour live. Hope you will be enjoying the stream, and also we hope that you are doing well. Appreciate your presence. Now let's take a look at the bar graph for today's mission launch. With today's launch of Starlink 11-8 mission, the bar graph depicts 9 Falcon 9 launches for 2025 as SpaceX gears for another year full of new exciting missions and record breakers. already SpaceX started to break some of the records. Now, according to Elon's tweet, possibly we could see around 180 Falcon 9 launches this year. Now, please allow us a couple of seconds to check whether the launch is on time or not, and to stay updated. Well, it's on time, so no issues. Now we have a request for you folks. If you haven't already, consider giving this video a like. It really helps YouTube's algorithm to bring in more space fans and rocket enthusiasts. And if you are feeling we are adding value to your viewing experience, consider subscribing. We would be super grateful for your support. Just a kind request to all of you joining us today. Now, once again, just a reminder, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time, 7:35 a.m. Pacific Time on Sunday, that is January 19th. Now, let's go ahead and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Starlink mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 4 East from Vandenberg Space Force Base. With the spacecraft on board, the patch of is staggering 27 Starlink satellites for a southeast trajectory along the coast of California, Southern California, heading into a low Earth orbit. That is to the 11th shell of second generation Starlink mega constellation, indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you see indicates where Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later, leaving California's coast. And this is going to be a off the land landing, a drone ship landing using autonomous spaceport drone ship named, of course, I Still Love You, here on the west coast, which means that the first stage, booster with tail number 1082, flying for its 10th time, will be returning, heading out to the drone ship for its landing. This will be the 118th successful landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship to date. Now, the estimated booster recovery is approximately 574 kilometers. With the estimated fairing recovery approximately 703 kilometers downrange. And the stage 2 debris re-entry will be in the East Pacific. Now, please excuse me, I have to take a sip of water. Meanwhile, I'm just playing this trajectory slide once again. I hope with this you can get a rough idea about the trajectory for today's Starlink 11-8 mission. Currently, we are T-minus 24 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. As of now, there are 3 in SpaceX drone ship fleet, as we all know, and we do anticipate the addition of a 4th drone ship possibly occurring this year, as previously committed by SpaceX. Here are some of the stats related to the drone ships as of now, and out of these 3, just read the instructions, and a shortfall of gravitas are based in Florida, and another, of course, I Still Love You, here at California. Now, if we move on and let's discuss a little bit about the fairing. Well, just a second. Fairing recovery. The two halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther down the range, approximately 129 kilometers from where the first stage lands on the drone ship, after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve them from Pacific waters. SpaceX manufactures the fairings in-house with the total cost of two halves is nearly $6 million. Quite obvious that SpaceX aims to recover the fairing for repetitive use, mirroring their approach with the rocket boosters, upholding the motto of reusability and sustainability. Now on your screen you can see how a fairing recovery looks like. Although the recovery vessel on your screen is dug performing the recovery operation, but today's supporting recovery vessel here in the Pacific is Go Beyond. Now the recovery vessels Bob, Doug and Go Cosmos are currently awaiting for their next assignment. And from long I'm noticing that the Go Cosmos recovery vessel is staying moored. I don't know what happened to it, and it's not showing up for any recovery operations at the East Coast as well. So a little bit unsure about that. Now let's quickly move on as we are getting closer to the webcast to begin. Let's just discuss some of the stats. Today's launch marks 437th SpaceX overall launch and the 5th Starlink launch of 2025. This is going to be 424th Falcon 9 launch to date, the 10th flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission, with tail number 1082 being in action after 37 days. Now here I would like to take a moment just to say you guys that all the stats which we are discussing here, you can find them on our X handle, which we are now trying to post these stats over there a day before the launch. So if you are curious and a number lover, or you can say you love numbers, then you can check out our X handle so that you can have a look about the stats for each missions. Now moving on, today's mission marks the 9th Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 10th overall launch of this year. This will be 369th Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. That is the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. Now please don't get confused here, like a little it is confusing. I just mentioned about the Falcon booster reflight. Later on I will be saying about the Falcon 9 booster reflight. This combines both the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy booster reflights. Now today's mission will be the 109th orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East, and 176th overall orbital launch from this pad. With the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a remarkable 7,746 Starlink satellites, which includes 427 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. Now moving on to some reusability statistics. This launch marks 353rd Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. Well, just a second. Why it's in loop? Let me just stop it. I guess made some changes during the New Glen launch and they stayed back on this scenes. Well, I guess we won't be having any more no more issues. Fine, we won't be having. So, as I was saying, that today's launch marks 353rd Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. So here is the difference. This one is the Falcon 9 booster reflight, that a Falcon 9 booster that has flown at least once before. This will be the 118th landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship. 10th landing on 10th landing of the first stage booster with tail number 1082 supporting today's mission. And with this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX will be having 318th overall drone ship landing, marking 380th Falcon 9 landing to date and 399th SpaceX overall landing to date. Just one number less to once again create a record of 400th SpaceX overall landing. I hope that will be happening with the Starlink 13-1 mission coming up. Now, speaking of landing, here are some stats related to the drone ship landings being made prior to today's launch. So don't get confused with the numbers for the today's mission, because these stats are right now you are seeing it's prior to today's mission launch. Once again, we would like to thank all of you joining us here on this stream. We really appreciate your presence and we would be super grateful if you can like the stream so that YouTube can push it to more people and we can have more space enthusiasts and rocket lovers just like you to find out this stream. Also would like to encourage all of you to join us on chat if you guys are comfortable doing so. We would love to hear from you and to know more about you. Now let's have a look into some key stats related to SpaceX launches in this year, including today's mission. With today's mission, SpaceX will be having the 10th launch of this year, and out of those, 5 are Starlink missions, including today's launch, and 4 were non-Starlink missions for commercial and government organizations. And well, 1 Starlink launch for on its 7th flight. 9 reused booster with this mission SpaceX will be having. And now if we will look into the geographical distribution of these launches, we will have that SpaceX is having 6 launches from East Coast as of now, with 2 from Launch Complex 39A, that is Kennedy Space Center, and 4 from Space Launch Complex 40, that is from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And here on the West Coast, they will be today having 3 launches, that is from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. As of now, only 1 launch from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas with the 7th integrated flight test. Now if you look into the landing details, they will be nailing it for the 9th time this year. I guess I have to add a entry for number of catches, because this year we will be having some multiple Starlink launches, and we must have this on our stats, that number of catches from right now. Means from the next stream we will be having it. So for the landings, they are having 8 drone ship landings as of now. They will be having 8 drone ship landings, excuse me. 2 on Of Course I Still Love You, including 1 from today. 3 on Just Read the Instructions, and 3 again on A Shortfall of Gravitas. For ground landings, they are having 1 on landing zone 4, which we saw for the transporter 12th mission. Now again, prior to today's launch, so please don't get confused. This stats right now on your screen is prior to today's launch, and it is mentioned on the right hand side corner of the stats slide, so please don't get confused. I'm just repeating myself. The success rate for ground landings is 98.78%, and for the drone ship it is 96.65%, and the overall landing success rate is 97.07%. The landing success rate for 2024 was 99.24% due to the failure of the booster with tail number 1062 to not make successfully a successful landing on the A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship during the Starlink 8-6 mission, and with that, A Shortfall of Gravitas also saw its first unsuccessful landing. The longest stretch of successful mission in a row prior to the last mission failure, that is the Starlink 9-3 mission, is 334 back-to-back successful mission. Today's mission is the 73rd launch since that last mission failure. Most launches in a calendar quarter to date is 42 launches, including 2 Starship launches in the 4th quarter of last year. And the most launches in a calendar month is 17 launches in November, including 1 Starship launch, again last year, that is in 2024. Once again, just a reminder, this page of stats is also prior to today's launch. Now 134 launches in a calendar year, which is the highest annual launches to date. But if we count in Starship launches, then the number rises to 138. 72 successful launches since last mission failure. 57 successful landings since last landing failure with the Starlink 8-6 mission. As of now, prior to today's mission launch, 290 missions with at least 1 reused fairings, and approximately 548 number of fairing halves have been reused. We are just approximately 9 minutes away from the webcast to begin. From the launch as well, not a webcast will begin 5 minutes prior to the launch. So let's just quickly wrap up with these stats. Only 2 slides are left. So on your screen you can see the pie chart showing the 2025 orbital launches nationwide. Now with this launch, that is the 13th orbital launch of this year, United States is leading with 10 launches, which includes 1 New Glenn launch as well. followed by China with 3 launches. As of now, no other nation or country have attempted any orbital launch yet. I guess sooner India will be trying to have one launch for Bluebird. Now, again, we have this pie chart showing 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch. Falcon 9 having 9 launches, and China's Long March 3B variant, Long March 2D, and J-Long rockets having 1 launch each so far and 1 New Glenn launch. Now, with the New Glenn debut, I can assure you that this year we will be seeing more launches with many more new rockets. Now we are just 1 minute away from the webcast to begin. We will be moving on to the webcast as soon as SpaceX starts to stream. Now, adding value to your viewing experience is our top priority. If you felt we somewhat achieved that, please consider liking this video. It really helps YouTube's algorithm bring in more space fans and helps others to find out this stream. Also consider subscribing to our channel as we work hard to bring you streams packed with stats, details, and insights. We would be incredibly grateful for your support. So right now the webcast has started. Now let's quickly move on to the webcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the Starship launch, although we did saw the upper stage anomaly, and also right now SpaceX is again in the radar of FAA as it is undergoing an investigation regarding the Starship launch. And with this Starship Flight 7, we did saw the booster catch once again for the second time, but unfortunately for the upper stage, it really created a mess right now. Like there is nothing to blame SpaceX because it is quite obvious that for the first time they launched the Block 2 variant of the Starship, so things were not pretty much sure and certain that they will be performing as it is meant to be. So no issues with that, but the thing it happened with that anomaly of the explosion. Right now many videos are surfacing on the social media showing that clip as it was broken into pieces and the debris was falling from above the sky, and many other videos are also showing up on the social media showing that those heat shields and the insulations of the Starship's upper stage being found on the coast side. So it's for that I said that it really made a mess, and SpaceX have to suffer this time maybe because or mostly FAA is having a, what can I say, a negative notion. I don't know what, I should not be saying this. I know they are doing their job and it's a part of their job what they are doing, but still. So right now you are watching a cool view of the Falcon 9 standing tall on the pad Space Launch Complex 4 East, and we did got the call out that tanks are now pressurizing for the strong back retract. We are now pressurizing the tanks as we are adding a bit of gas to firm up the tank so that the clamp arms can open up with a solid structure holding the Falcon 9. Once the arms are open, we start reclining the strong back about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. Now the reclining process here is a little bit different from that of Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center. Here we recline the strong back about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9, and at Cape and Kennedy we recline it about a degree and a half. All systems are go for an on-time liftoff. But while we are watching this live view of Falcon 9, a couple of important steps were completed. The spacecraft team switched to internal power a few minutes ago, and firing of the Falcon 9 first stage is finished, meaning all the RP-1 prop is now on board. We are still loading liquid oxygen on both the first and second stages. Now here on your screen you can see how smoothly the strong back is retracting away from the Falcon 9. Would like to welcome Lisa Beatty joining us. Thanks Lisa joining on this SpaceX stream. Hope you are doing well and we hope you will be enjoying the stream. We really appreciate your presence with us. We did got the call out that stage 1 LOX load is complete. We are right now at T minus 2 minutes 36 seconds and counting. We are right now waiting for the second stage, the LOX load, to finish up just inside 2 minutes mark. As of now, the weather is cooperating with us. We don't expect any weather conditions. Again, if for some reasons we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow. Hopefully, we don't have to opt for that. Now we are waiting for the stage 2 LOX load completion. Hopefully, we will be getting a call out. Meanwhile, would like to stage 2 LOX load is now complete. All the propellants are now on board the Falcon 9 with 1 million pounds of propellant. We are now venting down the pressure that was in the tubing on the strong back. That's why we can see those clouds coming out, which is absolutely normal, and it's an indicator of launch coming up. Next event, T minus 1 minute, we should hear the call out that Falcon 9 flight computers are in startup and controlling the rocket for the remaining of the countdown.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
There we go, right on time. Falcon 9 flight computers on stage 1 and stage 2 are running the rocket through last minute of count. SpaceX launch director giving go for the launch, so we are coming up at T minus 34 seconds right now. All system continues to remain go for launch of Falcon 9 and Starlink with a record-breaking 27 Starlink satellites on board. Meanwhile, we are just away from the liftoff. Would like to ask Lisa. Oh, we did got an hold.
Held for a possible aircraft in the airspace.
Launch abort is running.
Right now, launch abort is running. We did got a hold. I guess they won't be able to launch today. Let's see if we get any update from them. Today's launch was a record-breaking launch for the Starlink as it was launching a staggering 27. I guess they ended the stream as well. So today we won't be having the launch, guys. Uh, We are a little disappointed for that. I know you guys are also disappointed. So let's see when we will be getting any update from SpaceX. We will be uh, letting you guys to know about that as well. So please kindly check our X handle as we are very much on time giving updates there. Now let me just quickly check whether SpaceX gave any update for today's hold as of now. I think they didn't, only they just made it on hold and the last minute of count. So as of now, there is no update from SpaceX end that why they made it on hold. So with that, we will wrap up our stream as we did got an hold in the last minute of countdown for the Falcon 9 launching the Starlink Group 11-8 mission. Once again, just a reminder, be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happenings in the space industry and updates on the upcoming launches. Hope you enjoyed the stream. We could provide some insights and some more details about the stream, although we know that you guys couldn't enjoy it in a full swing as we didn't have the launch today. Hopefully we will be having the launch sooner. We appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Thanks Marcos and thanks Lisa for being there with us, and all of you for supporting us, joining us on our stream. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me, Dipta, sign off for now, and we will see you next time.